I am your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here as we are every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, for the next 2 hours. This happens more and more when I'm about to start a broadcast, that I just try to focus as much as I can to cover every bit of news and information we have and to try to lay it all out as best we can understand exactly what's happening. I got here 3 hours before the show today, and I prepared for the broadcast basically for about 4 hours before that at home. And I think I'm almost like a race car driver or something that goes out and does a bunch of laps and almost practices too much beforehand. Now, you know, some days I come in there 30 minutes before the show and don't do a lot of preparation because I've already know what I want to talk about. But when it gets into a subject like Benghazi, or it gets into a subject like the NSA, or a subject like Obamacare, or a subject like immigration reform, I start studying the subject and then get so much knowledge, it's hard to put it all out there. But I'm going to try to go over it all today. I think the most amazing facet of it, and what kind of dumbfounds me personally, is that it's 100% fact that the White House, Obama, the State Department, the CIA, the Pentagon ordered a stand down and sat there and waited 14 hours to get people on the ground, and it took them over 6 hours to overrun the embassy substation arms cache and kill the people inside. It was the front office of a large warehouse complex out back with thousands of heat-seeking missiles, anti-aircraft guns, rocket launchers, so both small, medium, and some heavy arms. And I've spent the last day going back and digging up the Colonel Schaffer interviews, the Wayne Madsen interviews, the Dr. Steve Pachinik interviews, where they all laid out in the days, weeks, and months after. Going back 10 months ago to September 11th last year, within just a few days and then weeks and months, they laid it all out, that their sources said there was a stand-down ordered by Obama, that there was a giant arms cache there with the ambassador from Turkey being there, and that it was being transferred to Syria, and that the Benghazi security force had been ordered to basically go over and kill the ambassador and everybody inside by an unnamed group. Who do you think pays them? The White House. To get rid of witnesses so they could basically have plausible deniability later and say, oh my gosh, Al-Qaeda got all these missiles, we've got to take your rights away. They've got thousands of missiles crippling Europe and the U.S. We've got to set checkpoints up everywhere and take all your rights and have the TSA, you know, stick their hands down your pants everywhere because of Al-Qaeda. We laid all that out with our guest and our sources, who weren't speculating. They were told this by their CIA, FBI, Defense Department, State Department sources. And then I went back last night, this morning, today, and I watched these hour-long interviews with Wayne Madsen, Colonel Schaffer, Pachinik, Dr. Pachinik, and it was all exactly accurate. Then I even found Kudlow reports a month after we broke it with their witnesses saying the same thing on CNBC. So all this big news coming out, because now CNN's reporting the same thing we've been saying in the last few days, is that we've caught them red-handed. There's no mystery to Benghazi. We're going to break all that down when we come back.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at INFOWARS.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happened.
So check it out, INFOWARS.com/show.
It is the 4th day of August, 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, we have solved the Benghazi mystery, and we solved it 9 months ago, just a few weeks after the September 11th attack on the embassy substation that killed Ambassador Stevens and other CIA State Department personnel. And we on record with an NSA whistleblower, Wayne Madsen, with the former head of State Department Psychological Warfare, Dr. Steve Pieczenik, with the former head of major operations in Black Ops, Colonel Tony Schaffer, and other guests we had on. And up on INFOWARS.com right now, we have the confirmed Benghazi was cover-up of arms transfer to Al-Qaeda by Kurt Nimmo and yours truly, Alex Jones. And we worked yesterday and today on this article that has, from September of last year and October and November, 7 different links, 3 of them posted, video interviews / radio with Colonel Schaffer, Wayne Madsen, Dr. Steve Pieczenik on the show first on our broadcast, breaking down exactly what happened at Benghazi. And ladies and gentlemen, if I knew this a few days and a few weeks after the entire government in the State Department, the FBI, the CIA, the Defense Department, NATO, they all know. There was 2 Predator drones over. There was a C-130. It took them 14 hours to get personnel there. They stood down for over 6 hours to let them be killed. That is a premeditated, deliberate stand down. And we have a congresswoman who is a former ambassador saying only the president could order a stand down of something of that magnitude on a State Department facility. And that's what went on. That's what happened. Congresswoman Obama gave Benghazi stand down order. And we're going to be going over Ann Wagner's comments, the congresswoman, on that as well. So the point is that you've got all this other incredibly important news. We're going to get to that in the second hour. We've got NSA whistleblower and Navy veteran Wayne Madsen joining us at the bottom of the hour to go over this. But if you want to go to INFOWARS.com or PrisonPlanet.com and click on the top red link story, confirm Benghazi was cover-up of arms transferred to Al-Qaeda, you will see my guest with their sources in the Pentagon, the State Department, the NSA, the CIA, and NATO. Madsen had just been in Libya right before that happened, by the way. He actually goes to these places. Writes for some of the biggest publications in the country. They all laid it out. 3 different guests, and I had some others on as well, but they were speculating. These guys all had sources that said the same thing. And by the way, when Colonel Schaffer was on the broadcast, he ran Stratus Ivy and other major programs, could have killed bin Laden twice, was ordered to stand down in 2000 and 2001, testified at the 9/11 hearings. He was called in and threatened, because he teaches at the Army War College and also runs some other think tanks and is also a contributor to Fox News. But he was called in and threatened when he came on my show and said that, and couldn't come on for like 6-7 months after that happened, and is only now able to come on the show. I mean, it was a total freak out when he came on and said what he said. And what did he say? Heat-seeking missiles were transferred out of 3 giant warehouses. You can look at the Google Maps of this, that were controlled by that building behind it, filled with all of these heavy, medium, and light weapons. We're talking thousands of over 10,000 heat-seeking missiles missing in Libya. Several thousand. I also talked off record to an Air Force colonel. Here in Austin, Texas. I'll just leave it at that. I talked to an Air Force colonel in person that said, yes, they got most of the 10,000 heat-seeking missiles, and there were thousands in that building alone. And you had the Turkish ambassador, the foreign minister, there meeting hours before. My guest broke that. months and months before it was in the news. And if you just tuned in, what am I getting at here? CNN Thursday night came out, and we're going to play clips of this after the break. CNN came out and said, oh, we're breaking that there were 35 CIA operatives in warehouses behind the building, and that there were missiles and heat-seeking missiles in there. Now, we broke this here, okay? And I don't want the credit. I just want people to understand, we don't make stuff up. I told you a year and a half ago, right after the Navy SEALs, 20 plus, was it 23 Navy SEALs, blew up on a Chinook aircraft in a fake mission and then were attacked once they hit the ground, that I talked to a Navy SEAL who's a friend of the family, for one of my dad's friends. He's friends with his father. We've known him for over a decade, you know, enough to come over and, you know, barbecues at my parents' house. And they said, no, he's in another SEAL team. I'm not going to say the SEAL team, but that everybody that they talked to in SEAL Team 6 knows there was a bomb on the helicopter. And it was a setup. Well, I told you that over a year ago. Now that's Fox News, that's Associated Press, since Michael Savage had some of the families on saying it 2 weeks ago. And then that forced them to cover it. And we're in contact with the families as well. But they've been scared to come on so far. These are actual families that lost family. Not the SEAL I knew, who an active duty who has friends in SEAL Team 6. I don't make stuff up, you understand? And I know real information when I get it. We broke the Homeland Security documents saying veterans and gun owners and Tea Party people are the main terror threat. Remember that 4 years ago? People didn't believe it at first. We just continue to break bombshell after bombshell. So understand, I'm working 7 days a week. I'll be honest, I can't even be home now with my wife and children. They're so innocent. They're so good. I just think, my God, they're not safe if I don't go fight this. I don't even go home basically anymore. Because when I'm there, all I'm thinking about is this and fighting it. That's how real this is, ladies and gentlemen. That's how in the game for this republic and freedom I am. And I don't know where the other talk show hosts and people are. You think you're just going to play games with the New World Order? You're going to play games with the corrupt corporate mafias that have taken over our government? You think any of you are going to have a future? You think your bank accounts, your pension funds, your jobs are safe? Nobody's safe until we wake up as a country and get our nation back on track. We've never been perfect, folks, but we've never been this corrupt and this overrun by special interest. And corrupt forces have never gotten away with things at this magnitude. You think I'm happy that we were all proven right from 10 months ago, 9.5 months ago? I guess it was about 9.5 months ago. We broke this. And I sat there on Thursday and Friday going, didn't we report this first? And I went and looked at it Friday, and I looked at it Saturday. I'm like, INFOWARS.com and my contacts and who we had on the air, we broke that. And then we're so forward-looking, fighting the next globalist threat, the next authoritarian wave, that we weren't even going to report on the fact that we broke all this. And then, weeks after we broke all this, credit where it's due, the Kudlow report, that I got to be honest, that show continues to actually tell the truth on so many issues. Like when the foreign banks brag they've conquered us, they show the headline. Or when they admit that foreign banks are stealing trillions, they report on it. They reported. We're going to play that clip that it was an arms deal. But the whole issue here is there's no debate there was a standout. The only question is, did they go, oh, it's embarrassing that our al-Qaeda buddies are killing people, let's just say it was from a movie and whitewash it, or did they send them in to kill them so that there's dead men tell no tales of why al-Qaeda was given thousands of missiles, which the system is going to use then as a threat against the West to take all of our liberties?